Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your magical moon message. This is the Peace Dealer. The moon is in Capricorn, and with the sun in Leo, we are wrapping up this integrative process of tying all together the bits and pieces that we have assembled so that we can form techniques, form behavioral patterns, and in context to this transit, raise up on stage and perform incredibly. Now that the moon in Sag has enabled you to unleash your talents, it's time to perfect those talents so that you can form a technique and routine with which, with the Libra opposition of performance artistry, you can perform. 6th house is Virgo, practice, practice, practice. Libra is presentation, okay, where we actually take the exam versus study for the exam. Perform versus practice for the performance. Bridge and connect with others while we before worked on our behavior and how we affect other people. All right. Leo season is the call to express courage through boldness. The negative form of Leo is expressing this through bravado and a distortion of your ego. Of course, Shadow Leo forgets that their worth is from within and not from other people's opinions and reactions and sayings. And so they feed more to that external and look at the external to feed their validation. This is the quality of Leo in any human being. The positive of Leo, of course, like any sign, is recognizing this comes from within and enables them to feed that love of self and express that as a mirror, reflecting anyone who's jealous of them, but still shining that light and courage to be who they are. This fight you are fighting is not involving guns. I'm not saying that you shouldn't protect yourself with whatever instruments. I like to use the sword, the word, but personally, to each their own. This is a war, a culture war, a spiritual war, a digital war, economic war, a war of the psyche that is relative to your authenticity and who you are as a being. I'm not even going to say as a person. And I know that sounds like, somewhat intense, but it's as simple as breathing. All the bullshit throughout human history we've heard about spirituality is really just an attempt to remind you that all spirituality is the relationship with your breath. In spirituality, spiritual life is in the breath. And you can track how spiritual someone is relative to how well they can consciously breathe. Doesn't matter if you're an atheist, doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian. Arguing with people all day about the mechanics of your faith does not equal actually practicing it. And practice with Moon in Capricorn is helping you understand the integrity needed to perform the bold performance of your individuality. Leo is taking Aries, Taurus, Cancer, and Gemini on the stage before we integrate it in Virgo towards perfection. The moon in Sagittarius square Neptune revealed deep, crucial insight that clicked elements of how to feel about who you are and how to bring that courage. And not only are we going to perfect it with this moon in Capricorn, but en route to the Pluto conjunction that will reawaken a deeper cycle throughout the next 28 days of power, God power. This is going to, if you think of a firmware update, download another layer of understanding that will, by the time we step into the full moon, have you utilizing the quality of your life force energy. Imagine if your body was a literal device and vehicle with which you can harness untapped energy that has always existed but has laid dormant, and outside of your unconscious use of this, simulating very miraculous synchronicities and other such experiences, this puts you, I'm not wearing any shoes right now, this puts you in a position position, yes, I know, very random, to actually harness this untapped energy to produce an enhancement of not only the quality of your senses, your body, and the deeper facet of the awakened you, but to now transform your life relative to applying these enhanced qualities. The moon trining Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus enhances the quality with which ties into where you direct the psychological movement and harnessing of said energy, most of which is done with your mind. And so Mercury and Mars in Virgo put you in a position to crunch analytically the how to, so that you can manifest this change of experience and behavior. The change of behavior that comes when you apply new abilities and techniques to, in the process of transforming your behavior, set a new routine. So if we know that the third house are your abilities, represented by Gemini, Virgo represents your behavior, what you do every day based on your thoughts, becomes a behavioral pattern. And if you want to understand the secret to magic, if you want to understand the secret of manifestation, if you want to understand the secret of your mind and subconscious, it responds to patterns and what you are constantly telling it by your actions. Spirit listens to the language of your actions and how aligned with who you are within bridges heaven and earth. Now I'm just spitting bars at this point. But what's very key here is that with this grand earth trine, this fleshes out the reality, proof, facts, and practical understanding of metaphysical elements that were unseen and in the realm of theory that are now more factual than ever, soon to be more aware of next month when we're in Virgo season. This is bringing during this transit a resolute conviction that breaks you through a good number of doubt within yourself and through others without you having to say anything. Just being yourself and taking action aligned with integrity will prove more, even unbeknownst to you by people just looking at you, what you've been believing and living, than you giving a detailed instruction breakdown of why people should believe what you should believe. And that's cause for celebration, because with the North Node in Aries, this is still driving your identity towards the ascension of your character relative to the Leo Sun. And the square with Cap and Aries are going to break you through how your behavior that you are forming now is aligning with this philosophy of where to direct your character. That's basically a fancy way of saying the supernatural abilities and powers that you activated with the new moon in Cancer, with this moon that's opposite that new moon in Capricorn, is integrating the full experience and power, rather, of how you apply newly activated abilities into your routine. How do you use those abilities? Something that I have been saying periodically every month, increasing in the level of applicability, which with this grand earth trine will not only flesh materially concepts that you have accepted about yourself through the square, but can now experience the reality through your physical senses. In other words, this transit is going to be hyper real. We have to take into account that the purpose of this transit is to prepare, I'm channeling my ass off, is to prepare you for the full moon, 180-degree moon in Aquarius, opposite Sun in Leo, where you're going to come into a understanding of the knowledge of who you are on stage and what talent you are, of course, harvesting, what quality of energy you are putting in through your heart to magnify the quality of who you are evolving into. If you think that over the past 4 months you leveled up, this is the first time you're bringing this on stage relative to this level up. It's like you've been a stage performer, but you got a new update on your phone, and now you're presenting that to the audience. So this is going to bring everything together. The new moon to the 90-degree first quarter square, all right? Moon in Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra coming into Scorpio. We're activating the different pieces together. Then the integration is the process of putting it all together so that we can create through this routine behavioral patterns that automate the subconscious process with and for us. And as such, with the sextile to Pisces, the moon in Aqua and the moon in Pisces, you will progressively be experiencing more understanding relative to the moon in Capricorn of how to direct, utilize, control, Capricorn, the power of the energy you are harnessing to literally produce practical causality, so that when you think or when you intend, since this is mainly based on intentions, it produces an effect. The quality of how strong your body can process these sensations, because water are feelings, earth are sensations, are going to be doubly strengthened with the trine, which enables you to anchor this solid solid strengthening of your body to anchor more of this grounded experience through Virgo. And this is going to be a great transit that will click where you, from Moon and Sag, have ascended your perception of, oh, this is more of who I am. These are more, you came in with great synchronicities and epiphanies, but how do we now practically apply that? Welcome to Moon in Capricorn. I want to end this transit with, of course, the Moon Pluto aspect. This intense and extreme quality will be quincunxing Venus, and this will also be sextiling Neptune. You will gain crucial insight that may betray what you see in the 3D. And please let me remind you that the 4D world of your mind is realer than this 3D reality. Quantum mechanics have proved this. Ancient Sufis, gurus, religious experts, and scientists even back then have alluded to this, that your consciousness is what influences what you perceive relative to the double slit experiment. This universe is not locally real. I want you to look 2 articles up if you're new to this, if you haven't heard me say this before. Last year, a Nobel Peace Prize was won because they were proved that this universe is not locally real. Meaning local, it's not here. This experience is not here and it's not real. We can go into ontology to debate the nature of what realness is, but what we perceive as is here really isn't. And then we also have to take into account Neil Seth on his TED Talk, which, many have realized, you hallucinate your conscious reality. So your subconscious, of course, brings all of your senses together, but by the time you can come into a realization, we're already in the next moment, and your brain is buffering like a graphics card to simulate your experience. Do you know if your brain is in a vat? When I took a philosophy course in college, that was the overarching question that in the beginning, middle, and end we had to, as we learn these philosophical concepts, ask ourselves, can you prove that right now your brain is not in a vat? Because you simulate through your brain Mercury, but what's to say that that's for real? And you may find a haunting realization that maybe it's not possible to prove this, or maybe you don't have to, mainly because knowing that the nature of your consciousness and thoughts that overlap and influence what you physically realize puts into the notion that this 3D may be the past and your present is in your mind, the now moment. And so what you are looping and how you are aligning your actions with the world in your mind, you don't want to let the 3D deter you to start thinking that here. It's a simple concept that we overcomplicate. And to take the law of assumption into practice, the moon in Capricorn will guide you on how much more real to bring these elements into this world. But really, you're in this world, okay? You are in this 3D world, but not of it, because you are of the divine. And even though that's vague, you get the ability to flesh out what that really means in your own words through your actions, instead of building castles in the sky, where we can do Moon in Aquarius. So we're going to step into the elite squad with this moon cap. Be prepared for great miracles and deep awakening. And this is going to really help you understand more how to utilize this deeper integration of your evolution and supernatural abilities. Godspeed, ladies and gentlemen. Make it count. Peace.